My name is Rowan Keller. I'm 32 years old. I work in compliance for a mid-size insurance company, and I don't have children. I need to say that up front because it was the first thing I kept repeating like a prayer when the school secretary looked at her screen and called me stepmom with a smile that didn't match the words. No, I said, laughing lightly at first because that's what your brain does when reality comes in wrong. I'm not I'm not anyone's stepmom. The secretary blinked, still smiling, still polite. Oh, I'm sorry. I assumed. Are you here for Ava? Ava. I didn't know an Ava. I'm here because I got a call, I said, and my voice started to tighten. This number called me. She glanced down at the office phone, then back at her screen. Yes, I called you. We needed a guardian pickup. Ava had an incident on the playground. My stomach dropped because there are only a few reasons schools call you urgently. I'm not her guardian, I said slowly. I don't know who Ava is. That's when the secretary's smile faded. Not dramatically, just enough to shift the whole room. She looked down at her screen again and said, "Hold on." Her fingers moved quickly across the keyboard. Click, click, scroll. Her brows pulled together. Then she said, half to herself, "That's strange." I leaned closer. "What's strange?" She didn't answer right away. She reached under the counter, pulled out a printed attendance sheet, scanned it, then looked back at the monitor like she was trying to make two facts align. Then she said the sentence that made my blood go cold. "Ma'am," she murmured, "I'm reading your name off a different child's file." My stomach dropped so hard I felt dizzy. "What?" I whispered. She turned her monitor slightly toward me. Not fully. School offices don't love exposing student data, but enough that I could see the header. Emergency contacts, AVH. And there, under step-parent/guardian, was my full name. Rowan Keller, my phone number, my home address, my work email, all correct. And next to it, in neat typed letters, a note, authorized for pickup. My mouth went dry. "That's my information," I said, voice shaking now. "Why is that on her file?" The secretary's face went pale. She quickly turned the monitor back toward herself and lowered her voice. "Okay," she said, and her tone changed into that calm that's really panic with a trained face. "Okay, I need you to stay right here." "I don't understand," I said. "I don't have kids. I'm not a stepmom. I've never been here." The secretary swallowed. "What did the caller say to you?" I frowned. "No, you called me," I answered, and the voicemail said to come to the office. Her eyes flicked to the phone system. "I did call the number listed as stepmom. That's you." A hum rose in my ears. Someone had put my identity into a child's school record, not as a random contact, as an authorized guardian. That meant if I had walked in 10 minutes earlier, smiling and confident, they could have handed me a child I didn't know, a child whose parent might have no idea her file had been edited. The secretary stood abruptly. "I'm getting the principal," she said. "Wait," I said, grabbing the counter edge because my knees felt weak. "Where is Ava now?" She paused, then said, "In the nurse's office. She scraped her knee. She's fine." Fine. The word didn't reach me. All I could think was, a school called me to pick up a child I didn't know, and my name was on the file. That is not fine. The principal arrived within minutes. Ms. Wallace, mid-50s, sharp eyes, no nonsense. She took one look at my face and knew this wasn't a normal mix-up. "Ma'am," she said, "I'm Principal Wallace. Can you tell me why you're here?" I swallowed. "I got a call to pick up a child named Ava, but I don't know Ava, and your office has my name listed as her stepmom." Ms. Wallace's expression went still. Stepmom, she repeated. The secretary nodded, voice shaky. It's on the emergency contact list. Full info. Ms. Wallace turned to me. Do you have identification? Yes, I said, and my hands shook as I pulled out my driver's license. Ms. Wallace looked at it, then at me, then at the name on her screen. Okay, she said quietly. You're not supposed to be on that file. No, I said. I'm not supposed to be on any child's file. Ms. Wallace's jaw tightened. Do you have any connection to this school? Any relatives? Any neighbors? Any volunteer work? No. Any ex-partners with children here? My stomach tightened at the word ex. There was one person whose shadow had never fully left my life. My ex-fiancé, Miles. We'd broken up a year ago, and it hadn't been clean. Miles had been the kind of man who liked control disguised as concern. He wanted access to everything: my location, my calendar, my passwords for emergencies, my phone, in case something happens. When I said no, he would sigh and say I was traumatized and couldn't trust anyone. When I finally ended it, he didn't scream. He smiled sadly and said, "You'll regret this. You'll see what it feels like to lose a family." Lose a family. At the time, it sounded melodramatic. Now, standing in an elementary school office with my name in a child's guardian slot, it sounded like a threat with teeth. Maybe, I said slowly, I have an ex who liked manipulating paperwork. Ms. Wallace didn't ask for details. She turned to the secretary. Pull the audit log, she said. The secretary blinked. The what? The record change history, Ms. Wallace said sharply. Every student file edit has a timestamp and user ID. My stomach clenched with relief. An audit log meant this wasn't just mystery, it was traceable. While the secretary pulled it up, Ms. Wallace guided me to a chair and said, I'm sorry. This shouldn't have happened. I don't understand how it could, I whispered. Don't you need a parent in person to add pickup authorization? We do, Ms. Wallace said, and her voice hardened, which means someone either bypassed procedure or someone impersonated a parent. The secretary's face changed as she stared at the screen. Ms. Wallace, she said quietly, there's an edit from 2 days ago. Who made it? Ms. Wallace asked. The secretary swallowed. It was done through the parent portal. Parent portal. Online access. My mind raced. Parents can update emergency contacts online. Schools encourage it. Convenience, modernization, less paperwork. Which also means if someone steals the parent's login, they can rewrite a child's file without ever stepping into the building. Ms. Wallace leaned over the screen. What was changed? The secretary read, voice tight. Removed biological father from pickup list. Added stepmom Rowan Keller. Added her phone and address. Marked authorized. Removed biological father. Added me. My stomach dropped. That wasn't random. That was surgical. It wasn't just adding an extra contact. It was removing the person who could stop the pickup. Ms. Wallace's voice turned cold. Call the mother, now. The secretary grabbed the phone and dialed. While it rang, Ms. Wallace looked at me. Ma'am, she said gently, I need to ask you directly. Did you come here intending to take a child? No, I said instantly. I came because your office called me. I thought it was a mistake. Ms. Wallace studied my face, then nodded once. Okay. The phone clicked. A woman answered, breathless, worried. Hello, this is Nina Hart. Ms. Wallace spoke calmly. Ms. Hart, this is Principal Wallace at Brookfield Elementary. I'm calling about Ava's emergency contact file. Are you aware of any changes you made to the pickup list in the last 2 days? Silence on the line. Then, No. Ms. Wallace's eyes sharpened. Have you shared your parent portal login with anyone? No, the mother said, voice rising. What's going on? Ms. Wallace took a breath. Someone accessed Ava's file and added an unauthorized pickup contact. The mother's voice jumped. What? Who? Ms. Wallace glanced at me, then said carefully, the contact listed is not someone you know. She is in the office now because our staff called the number on file. The mother made a sound like her body had left her. Is Ava safe? Yes, Ms. Wallace said quickly. Ava is safe. She's with the nurse. Oh my God, the mother whispered. Oh my God, someone tried to. Ms. Wallace's voice stayed steady. Ms. Hart, I need you to come to the school immediately with photo ID. We are locking Ava's file. We are contacting the district security officer, and I strongly recommend you contact law enforcement. The mother's breathing turned sharp, panicked. Did someone try to pick her up? Ms. Wallace looked at me again. Kind, direct. No one has taken her. The person listed did not request Ava. She came because we called her. But yes, if someone else had arrived claiming to be Rowan Keller, staff might have released Ava based on the file. That is why we're treating this as serious. The mother started crying quietly. How did they even? Ms. Wallace cut her off gently. Come now, we'll explain in person. She hung up and turned to the secretary. Print the audit log, save screenshots, lock the parent portal account, reset passwords, call district IT and security. Then she turned back to me. Ms. Keller, she said, thank you for not leaving. I need your help now because your identity was used. My throat tightened. Used by who? We don't know yet, she said, but we will. I sat in that chair while the office moved like a machine around me. I watched the secretary print out the audit log with a trembling hand. I watched Ms. Wallace type an email to district security. I watched a staff member stand at the office door like a guard. The school's normal chatter outside the office door continued, kids laughing, teachers talking, while inside, a different reality formed. 15 minutes later, Nina Hart arrived. She burst into the office with her coat half on, eyes wide, face pale with fear. She held her ID out like it was a shield. I'm Ava's mom, she said. Ms. Wallace guided her into the office, closed the door, and introduced me carefully. This is Rowan Keller, she said. She is the person whose information was placed on Ava's file. She did not know and came only because the school called her. Nina stared at me, tears in her eyes, and for 1 second I thought she might slap me. Instead, she whispered, So someone used your name to take my daughter? Yes, I said, voice shaking. And I'm so sorry. I swear I didn't know. Nina sank into a chair like her bones had turned to water. Who would do that? Ms. Wallace slid the audit log across the desk. This shows the file was edited through the parent portal. Someone gained access to your account, Ms. Hart. Nina stared at the paper, then shook her head violently. No, no, only me and… She stopped. Her mouth tightened. Ms. Wallace leaned in. Only you and who? Nina's face twisted. My ex, she whispered. Ava's father. My stomach dropped again. Nina's voice shook as she spoke. We're in a custody dispute. He's been trying to get more time. He's been angry. He keeps saying I'm keeping Ava from him. Ms. Wallace's jaw tightened. And the audit log shows someone removed the biological father from the pickup list, she said quietly. Nina's eyes widened. He removed himself? Ms. Wallace nodded. Or someone removed him to make the new pickup look legitimate and uncontested. Nina grabbed her phone with shaking hands. I need to call… Ms. Wallace held up a hand. Not yet. Call police first. We need this documented. District security arrived, then a police officer, Then another. The small office filled with adults speaking in clipped sentences, while Ava, still safe, sat in the nurse's room coloring, unaware she had almost become a name on an Amber Alert. The officer asked me questions too, because my identity was part of the case now. Full name, address, how long I'd lived there, whether I knew Nina Hart, whether I knew Ava, whether I had any reason someone would use my identity specifically. And then he asked the question that made my stomach tighten again. Do you know anyone who might want to frame you as an unauthorized pickup? Frame you? That's when I knew the scariest part. This wasn't only about taking Ava. It was about who would take the fall if something went wrong. If someone showed up, claiming my name, took a child, and vanished, the school would have a file listing me. A phone call logged to my number. My name printed under stepmom. I would be the first suspect. My life could be destroyed without me ever touching the crime. That's when I said it out loud. This is a setup. The officer's face tightened. It's possible, he said. Nina's voice cracked. He would do that, she whispered. He's been telling people I'm unstable. He's been trying to paint me as dramatic. Miss Wallace's expression hardened. This is more than custody drama, she said. This is attempted abduction planning. The district IT team pulled portal access logs, an IP address, a device type, login times. Nina's account had been accessed at 11:42 p.m. 2 nights ago. Nina was asleep then. Her ex wasn't. The login came from a location near his new apartment complex. Police took it from there. They escorted Nina to pick Ava up from the nurse's office, and I watched that mother scoop her child into her arms like she was collecting her back from the edge of a cliff. Before Nina left, she turned to me with tears still wet on her cheeks and said, "Thank you for coming. If you hadn't—" I swallowed hard. "I didn't do anything heroic," I said. "I just didn't leave." "That was enough," she whispered. After they left, I sat alone in the office for a moment while Ms. Wallace printed one more document. An official letter stating the school had corrected the record and that my name was placed in error through unauthorized access. She handed it to me like she understood what it meant to need paper proof when your name has been dragged into something dangerous. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "We're tightening portal security immediately." "I didn't even know parent portals could do that," I admitted. "They're convenient," she said. "Convenience always comes with risk." I drove home, feeling like my skin didn't fit, like my name had been borrowed and returned slightly damaged. That night, I changed every password I had. I froze my credit. I pulled my background check report even though I knew nothing would show yet, because once your identity enters a police report, paranoia becomes practical. I also saved Ms. Wallace's letter in 3 places and emailed it to myself because I suddenly understood that being innocent is not enough. You have to be documentably innocent. 2 days later, a detective called me. They had identified the likely person who attempted the portal access, Ava's father. He had admitted trying to fix the contact list because he didn't trust Nina. He denied attempting abduction, of course. He claimed he was only trying to make sure Ava could be picked up by family. Family, in his mind, included anyone whose name could be used. The detective told me Nina was filing for an emergency custody modification and a protective order. The school was implementing a password system for pickups and locking contact edits behind 2-factor verification. And my name, was being attached to the police report as an involuntary victim of identity misuse rather than a suspect. That last detail mattered more than I expected. Because when your name ends up on a child's file that isn't yours, you realize how quickly the world could have decided you were the villain. The school called me stepmom. Then the office read my name off a different child's file. And in that moment, I learned that the most dangerous scams don't always steal money. Sometimes they steal trust, then use your name like a key to open someone else's child.